We did it! Ken cheered, as he, the game dev team which consisted of Ken, Shiroku, Fuku, Fu, Kiba, Shina, Yami, Amai, Mu, and Alice, as well as Izuku all stood in one of the unused rooms filled with bowls of junk food, soda, and candy, as well as confetti being strewn about everywhere. Yeah, everyone else cheered. The release of Dragon World Omni had been a huge success, to say the least, and as such, they were throwing a party to celebrate. Congratulations everyone! 2 million sold in just 4 days. Izuku congratulated them with a huge grin on his face. Words can't describe how proud I am of all of you. Most adults couldn't even do something like this, but you did it on your first try. I still can't believe they actually liked the characters I wrote, Fuku said with a blush and a small smile. They even said that the world design was good. Although that was most likely because of how good the graphics are. It doesn't matter if the graphics are good if the world is boring. Amai pointed out over video call. Don't put yourself down Fuku, you did amazing work. Yeah, real life has amazing graphics, but you don't look at a branch and say, wow, that looks great. It has to be cool looking in the first place. Ken agreed, before turning to Izuku. Speaking of people we couldn't do this without, besides me, that is, free cheers for Izuku who bought everything we need, and brought us all together. Cheers! Everyone shouted, raising their cups, before taking a drink. Izuku just bushed and rubbed the back of his head. Oh come on guys, we're here to celebrate you guys and your hard work. The only thing I worked on in that regard was swiping my credit card. It was important I guess, but not very hard. So like Ken's job. Shiroku chuckled. Haha, Ken dry laughed before sticking his tongue out at her. Anyway, speaking of money, where is all the money we made? In your credit cards. Izuku smiled, before pulling out credit cards from his sleeve. Surprise! Awesome! Ken shouted as he and the others took their cards. I set everything up so it goes to all of you equally. Given how much money is in each of them I don't think anyone should be complaining. Izuku explained. Just remember what I said about spending. The children took some time to admire their cards, before looking back up at Izuku, and then at each other. They all huddled up and started whispering about something, causing Izuku to give them a confused look. Eventually, they broke apart and came up to Izuku. We've decided, and we want you to take 50%, Ken explained. Izuku was a bit taken aback. 50%? Caretaker to put it simply, we have no use for so much money. But you do. Kiba added. We are fully aware of how much money it takes to keep everything running, and how much money you spend to keep us all happy, so it would be rude of us not to give you at least that much. We're not taking no for an answer, Fu added. Izuku just stared at them, seeing if any of them would back down, but all he saw were the determined eyes of kids who wanted to pay back their benefactor. Alright, but this is just temporary, now come here. The green teen opened up his arms and kneeled down. Naturally, all the children piled in, for a nice big group hug. Alright, what's next? Ken asked. The next day, the entire dev team gathered in Ken's room for a meeting. As for the topic, what to do now? Alright, raise your hand if you have an idea for a game, Fu said. Fuku, Amai, Yami, Ken, and Kiba all raised their hands. Okay, how about this? First, we hear about all the ideas, then after seeing if they're good ideas, we can make a kind of priority list. For which games get the most focus and time spent on them. Fu said. Fuku, since you did the most work last time, let's hear your idea first. Okay. Fuku took a deep breath and got ready to explain while telling herself they wouldn't immediately hate it. So, I want to make a game where you explore an alien planet. Okay, like, an entire planet? Fu asked. Like with cultures, and wildlife, and all that? Yeah, I think it would be really cool to go to another planet and make all those new discoveries. Fuku said, getting more and more excited about it. You could learn languages, write down reports, take photos, and make new friends. Where's the action? Ken asked. Oh, well I guess there could be some combat stuff, but not a lot. I really want to focus on exploring a different planet. Fuku explained. That does sound really cool. Seeing things that no one has ever seen before. Alice gawked. What would people from a different planet wear? Shiroku wondered. I think that sounds like a good idea, but wouldn't that take a long time to make? Kiba asked. Something like that would have to take years at least. Right. Fu thought hard about what to do here. How about this? You and whoever else wants to work on it, can do it as a side project, and give it to us once you're done with all the concept stuff. Sound good? Everyone nodded, and Fuku breathed a sigh of relief that her idea hadn't been rejected outright. Ken, what's your idea? Fu asked. Okay, so hear me out, let's make a game about us. Ken offered, getting confused looks from everyone. Come on, think about it. Exciting stuff happens to us all the time, there would be a lot of playable characters and we can always add more whenever Azuka gets more kids. We can have special quests, it'll be awesome. I suppose you do have a point, getting to play as myself and my elite siblings is a fantastic selling point, Kiba admitted. But that also sounds very complicated, and we'd have to get permission for a lot of things. I'll ask Dad about it, and we can plan around it later, Fu said. Yami, what about you? Gant monsters protecting cities from other giant monsters, Yami explained simply. Clap, 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 clap. Good idea, Yami. Amai praised as the whole room applauded. Why didn't I think of that? Giant monsters are awesome. Ken cheered. Alright, so I think we're all in agreement that should be a high priority? Fu asked, getting nods from the entire room. Alright, let's hear the rest. Kiba. I want to make a character action game about myself. Kiba stated proudly. Should have seen that coming, develop that idea a bit more, and then we'll talk about it more. Fu sighed. Amai, sorry to get to you last, but what was your idea? I want to make a fighting game, Amai said a bit bashfully. I don't really have any ideas for it outside of that, but I always really wanted to make a fighting game. Fu was about to speak when Ken snapped his fingers as an idea came to him. Why don't we make the fighting game about us? We can combine it with my idea. Does that sound good to you? Fu asked, and Amai enthusiastically nodded. Alright, how fast do you think we could make one of those? Well, I know fighting games inside and out, and we already know about us, so it shouldn't take too long, Amai explained. Although we should make sure the game plays well, I hate when games are rushed. Alright. Fu thought about it for a minute, before coming up with a plan. Okay. Fuku, Mu, Yami, and Alice, we don't really need you guys to help with the fighting game since it's based on us. So I want you guys to work on the monster game, and whatever Kiba comes up with for her game. For now, we'll focus on the fighting game. First, we'll need to figure out what areas we're gonna put the fighters in. Since the game is based on us, they should be places involving us. Like maybe some really nice looking places in the forest or underground or something. Ken, can you and Nara look around for places like that? Got it. Ken gave the thumbs up. I'll get everyone's permission to be in the game, and see if I can get some camera footage of us fighting so we'll know what moves to give everyone, Fu added. Other than that, we should be good. This is gonna be awesome. Ken cheered, getting everyone pumped up. Alright, everyone. Let's take a break for the next few days, then we can get back to work. Fu said. A week and a half later, Fu, Kiba, Ken, and Amai were all on video chat, with all their faces shuffled to the left of the screen, and in the middle was a big white space that they would draw on. Alright, did you get the character list we sent you and watch the videos? Fu asked. A few days ago, they sent her the list of people who would be in the game, which included Izuku, whether he wanted to be in or not, Eri, Kei, Fu and Kyosei, Kiba, Sansan, Shiroku, Yami, Otoko, Kai, Mu, Netsu, Ken and Nara in all of their forms, aka, Shina, the Cerberus Trio, Sori, Sai, Chol, Vera, Hada, Tokoshi, and Giza. Some of these characters would not necessarily have to be playable but would be in the game somehow. She had also been sent footage of almost all of them in combat. Yup, did you guys get the lists I sent you? Amai asked. She had sent them a list of fighting games to play, mainly Arc System Works games, as well as a list of fighting game terms so they didn't get confused during her explanation. They all nodded. Okay, so first let's start with Mr. Midoriya, Amai said. I think we should have Mr. Midoriya be a Shoto. Nothing really complicated or anything, just him using his staff and gun. Well, there's not really much we can do with Dad since he doesn't fight, so something basic and easy sounds good. Fu agreed. Caretaker should be as fair in combat as he is in real life, Kiba added. Good. So next is Fu and Kyosei, Amai said. I think he should be kind of a zoner/grappler, using his tentacle things to grab and keep the opponent away or pin them down. But I had a really cool idea. Instead of using super attacks with the meter, Fu can use the meter to regenerate health. And if he has a full 7 bars of meter, he can even come back to life after being KO'd, but only once. That sounds really annoying to play against, Ken pointed out. I thought that too, so I decided that to balance this, they also take more damage than everyone else, Amai explained. So Fu takes extra damage and just heals. Yeah, that sounds like Fu, Kiba said. Pretty accurate. Fu agreed. Let's do Lady Kiba next, Amai said. I think Lady Kiba should be a rushdown character, with a unique meter. The blood meter. The more blood there is in the blood meter, the stronger Lady Kiba's attacks are. The blood meter goes down each time an opponent blocks or dodges one of her attacks, but it goes up every time you hit them. That does sound very accurate to my quirk, but wouldn't they just block until I'm weak? Kiba asked with a frown. That's why we should give her a lot of mix-up moves, and unlockables, Amai explained. If you manage to outsmart your opponents you get rewarded with big damage, but if they outsmart you, they get rewarded perfectly fair character. That's better. I approve, Kiba said, giving a thumbs up. Great. Now let's get to Sansan. Sansan should be a grappler, Amai said. Grab people and hurt them with her acid. I don't think I could put in her usual hard-to-hit thing without making it too OP. It's too OP in real life, so that makes sense. Fu nodded. Approved. Alright. Shiroku. Amai moved on. Ranged grappler, using her webs and spiders to stick and grab people from afar. Approved. Ken nodded. Yami, I think should be a puppet character, Amai explained. He'll summon and control Grim to fight for him and defend him. About what I expected. Fu nodded. Mu was hard, Amai admitted. But I think I came up with something good. So Mu's gonna be a bit of a weird grappler. He'll be in his little dimension during the beginning, and you can only hit him when he tries to attack you. That sounds interesting. Ken thought about it. Guess we can try it, and see what happens. Netza was much easier, he should be a zoner, Amai said. But, he'll have 2 special mechanics. All of his moves can be charged. But he'll also have an oxygen meter. The more you attack, the more powerful attacks you use, the more the meter will go down, and when it gets lower, your attacks will have less power and range. So it's like me, but ranged. Kiba frowned. Well, as the 2 with some of the rawest power, I think it makes sense. Sounds good to me, and that oxygen meter thing will help make him different from Heat Blast. Ken pointed out. Nice. So we can already use Ken's forms from the game he made, but for Nara, I don't think we should add gray matter, Amai admitted, getting nods of approval from everyone. Okay, Ken and Bolt should be a heavy rushdown character, with lots of super armor and unlockables. He'll be easy to hit, but you need to be careful. Ken nodded. That's about right. Okay, XLR8 should be a more standard rushdown character. They'll be super fast and really hard to punish, but their attacks will be really weak. Amai explained. Articuno should be a zoner that focuses on freezing the opponents, and Ditto should be a puppet fighter that uses their clones to attack. Diamond Head I think would be a good stance change character, one that can switch from a zoner mode to a Shoto mode. Humongajur should be a grappler, with a unique super attack that uses the meter to make herself bigger and her attacks hit harder. Blocks and Lodestar should be zoners, and Wildbind should be a zoner/grappler hybrid. Everyone nodded, agreeing to everything as it all sounded good so far. Knees should be a zoner as well, although making a move set for her might be hard because I've never seen her fight, Amai admitted. Sheena did, so we can figure something out, Fu said. Oh, speaking of Sheena, I think she should be a stance change character. Her quirk just has so much potential that I don't think on moveset can do it justice, Amai said. It feels like every time I blink that quirk does something new, Kiba added. We'll have to ask her for a list.